All right, welcome back to The Devil in Detail, the Grendel Reread podcast. I'm Eli.
I'm Ben, and it's our 52nd issue episode anniversary milestone.
Huge, 1 year. Papa! Awesome, dude. I just recently saw on Facebook, too, something like you were mentioning from last year. It was like, Eli just told me that our secret podcast project could take over 5 years to complete, and I'm psyched, or something like that.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Before we get into our plans for the next 5 years, some would call it our 5-year plan.
That's right.
Tell me about your week. What did you do creatively or otherwise?
Well, first, I want to call attention to this beautiful T-shirt that Tanisha, my beautiful girlfriend, made for me with our new cricket that we got. This is a cricket? 1 of 1, not for sale. Cricket's like a, it's like a printer.
It's the sponsor of our show, Cricket.
Today, Cricket. Let me tell you about Cricket. Well, the Cricket is a printer. Well, it's kind of like a printer, but it cuts. Like you input this image and you'll put a piece of paper in or like vinyl or something like this. And so you print first, like on a printer, and then you import that thing in it and it will cut it. It'll like die cut the shapes. Wow. And so she's been using it to make cool clothes for Depop. If you check out Depop, Happy Brain Thrift on Depop. So it's just been cool. She's been making all these clothes and I was like, yeah, you gotta make me a Grendel shirt or something. And so
it's an iron-on, but it doesn't look like an iron-on because it's been die cut.
Because it's been die cut, and we have like a heat press thing. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's really cool. A 1 of 1, just so you know, Matt and Brent, never for sale, just for me. And just been again working on comics. I had a great class this week on perspective, 1-point and 2-point perspective from Professor Granoff. I'm very thankful for it. It really took me from doing 0 perspective in my pieces to a bunch more. Well, I noticed that I hadn't been doing establishing shots much, and it was because I didn't feel like I did them well. And so then I challenged myself to do like almost all establishing shots in this 2-week period thing for Next Panel Press on Webtoon. And then I sent it to you, like saying, how can you help me with this? And you were like, I'm gonna need, no, you didn't, but you're like, let me just call you up and I'll talk you through it a little bit. And you did, and it was amazing. And then I fixed up the one panel and then I redid the other panel completely into this cool cityscape that I'm proud of. So that's on the screen right now.
Well done.
Yeah. And it just has felt great. And so I've been making more comics as always. Oh, I got this beast in the mail today, literally moments before we.
Get ready for depression.
I can't wait. And this came out this week. We're all excited about it.
Oh, cool.
Red Room from Ed P. Score. What about you, Ben? What you been doing this week?
I made a lot of comics. I'm about to wrap up the 11th page of inks on Oh Fuck Why #2.
Looking so good.
Thank you very much. It's interesting doing. There's the other project that I do, I'm lettering myself, and so just like the little process changes that go into one or the other in terms of like how the balloons are composed. There's basically I draw these backgrounds knowing that they will all just get covered up with balloon. So I'm like, why would I spend 45 minutes drawing these fucking windows,
rendering the cityscape,
and I don't know. And so it's like the conversation will be, okay, guys, there's this much space. So just like, let's make sure that there's X script. The scripting needs of this moment are this big, or like letterer, please cover up the dubious perspective on, this. So I did
get wordy here.
Yeah, I don't know what else I did. I think that was it.
Making more comics, man. We're both hard at work.
Yeah, I remain on pace 5 pages a week, and
that's huge.
That's it. Let's get into Grendel #8, Devil's Legacy. Wow.
Like the devil is my best friend. Hunter rose with the pen to the fork end, or till time end. Like Orion, Jupiter, my kin, bloodline private. We can control the whole shit. The wolf won't beef, then we feast off the rip. Behold the devil in detail. Behold the devil in detail.
All right, welcome back. Thanks again for the great theme song, Manus and Laserdisc, aka Zach Johnson. I just want to thank some of the people who are joining the conversation, which is a big part. So if you're watching and if you're enjoying the episode or you've got a question or a beef, holler at us, comment in the YouTube or message us on Facebook and join the discussion. Talk about the issues. I want to thank Mark Akey and Dick Stroheim for joining the discussion and posting their questions. We're going to think a little bit more about them and we're going to get back to you. And Mark, put the book away before you fall asleep. We don't want any more crumbles. All righty. He had to rebuy his book because he was reading, fell asleep, and then woke up and was like, and crumbled his issue.
No.
Mark, that's funny. I'm glad you bought another one though. All right, so let's get into issue 8 of Grendel. All right, so we open up here. We pick
You want to
up.
talk about the cover? You want to talk about this crazy cover?
Let's
with
cover.
Joe,
Yeah, it's insane.
Joe Matt gets a little color credit.
Joe Matt does.
Yeah, look at this.
Sweet.
I love this crazy mechanical clock. The methods, the sweat house methods of COP in their interrogation room. Great. And then
Like
look at
you've mentioned Brazil before as like kind of visual. It's very Brazil. This is like
I'll talk about Brazil as long as you want to. Notice that crazy fucking Dominic Riley is wearing a COP shoulder pad.
Oh yeah,
That's crazy.
mm-hmm.
And on the front, the airbrushing work is tremendous. Like the light illuminates the lattice work on the windows.
Oh yeah,
There's
and
some
kind
very
of like a
color-
gradient even. That's very cool.
Yeah, and well, that's very Joe Matt, and he meticulously cut some frisket to mask out Wiggins and Argent, Spread Eagle Argent.
He's ready. Oh man, great cover. I mean, I love it. All of these covers for the Kamiko kill it. I mean, that's not to say Matt's again don't, but it's just a different feel. It's a much different feel.
Look at her hyper dramatic pose.
Mm-hmm.
She's so full of like self-righteous indignation, and denial in this issue. It's just like, who are you to accuse me? It's very like it's very kabuki. I spend a lot of time thinking about why anime is so awful.
All anime is awful.
Don't at me, the internet. No, I find the writing in a lot of anime just to be like something is so lost in translation.
Yeah.
And I read some Reddit post that was like, well, like the storytelling tradition and mode is like from kabuki. We're talking about a culture where it's so reserved, and like kabuki is the opposite because it's so direct about their feelings and expression. And that made so much sense to me. I was like, that's like exactly my beef with the writing in anime, that it's just like it's just like very direct and not, subtle in like a Western
which we struggle with the subtleties, and we
wear. The scholar of Reddit said that if Breaking Bad was an anime, the dialogue would be things like, "Jesse, you're really getting on my nerves today," like whatever, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Great. Okay.
Interesting point. All right, so let's crack it open. We pick up, as it's been a few weeks since we've done this, though it could just be moments since you've watched the last episode, depending. But we pick up. Christine has just flown from San Fran to New York. Tujiro has catified himself, felinified himself, and he has disappeared into the night. And
that arc is over.
That arc is over, yeah. And Argent is like, she's back. I can feel her.
Yeah, the rest of the series focuses a lot on Argent and the police and how awful and incompetent and brutal the police are. And there's a lot of subtext in there. And that is to say that there's like stuff that gets described or referenced that we never get the opportunity to see.
Right.
So we'll take your word for it.
Yeah. And again, we're comparing Tom Vincent and Jeremy Cox's colors.
Yeah.
Now, I recently started reading Barry Windsor Smith's Storytellers, also colored by Tom Vincent. Very well done work.
Partially colored, at least. It was.
Some of it was as Barry himself.
The control he must have exerted in that studio. I think that Jeremy Cox really kills it on this opener. Mm-hmm. The white in the hair, it just pops a lot lighter, and it looks like the way he's got a light coming up from the bottom instead of a shadow. It just works a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. I like the dots in Wiggins's tie here.
Oh yeah, it's very new
like
wave.
Squares. Yeah, exactly.
It's like a checkerboard tie.
Yeah.
There's a lot of screen tone in this issue, to the point where I feel like that's one of the things that's missing from this book is more screen tone.
Yeah.
Maybe
they were trying to like break out of that.
Maybe every time they use it, it looks so good. It's just like, I think they're under the gun. And I think that one thing that's happening in this issue is that to wrap up the Tajiro arc in 7 with the painter's inking, they needed to not rush, but move through the first block of pages in this issue a little quickly.
Oh yeah.
And so especially in this first interrogation scene, it's like there's a lot of go, like
boom, boom, boom. Yeah. I do also want to just draw a little quick attention to this amazing Gumby, Arthur Adams Gumby Dark Knight style ad. He's lean, he's mean, he's green, he's Gumby, damn it. Great. Playing on the SNL and everything. Gumby is hot as hell right now.
When did you encounter the Kimiko Gumby specials?
Not young enough, sir. Only in the last few years, honestly, as I was like trying to buy up every Art Adams and Kimiko thing I found. There was like this few. I wish that I found them as a kid, but I didn't. But they're amazing.
I found so first of all, the winter fun is way better than the summer fun. Like way funnier, more interesting stuff going on, better gags.
Yeah.
And I found it in a 50-cent box, and it was the same. I was maybe 15 or so. And it was the same like digging where I discovered ElfQuest for the first time. And I was like, this looks like Art Adams. I'd seen his New Mutants annual. I was like, holy shit, it is. And as soon as you start reading it, you're like, this is fucking funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't expect, you expect sometimes these like TV adaptations or something to be a little bit cheesy or something, but Kimiko really did a great job, with this, with Johnny Quest, with Robotech, with all these different things. They stepped up the adaptation game.
I've never read Flaming Carrot, maybe one issue, like outside of Cerebus, and it's wonky and weird, but like the tone that Bob Burden strikes in those Gumby books is like super funny.
Yeah, I just scored my first issue of Flaming Carrot this week.
Did you now?
This is why Manus doesn't.
Oh, with the turtles.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
He doesn't let you get the singy issues.
That's why he didn't let me handle his comics, because I'm always throwing it around.
Yeah, they're just comics.
They're just comics. Oh my gosh.
Surgeon General's warning. This artwork of a drug-induced Gumby.
General Surgeon's warning.
A result of someone slipping him a Mickey is provided as a public service to prove once and for all that no one should take drugs. Say no to drugs. Stop the madness.
So 80s. So
there's just like subversive, weird humor packed into every corner of that project.
Oh yeah. It's amazing what they got away with for that. Anyway,
well, it's Art Clokey's trademark. It's his shit. It's the creator. It's a creator-owned property, so Bob Burden must have sweet talked him.
Do whatever you want, he said.
All right. So we're getting into the idea that there's the preternatural link between Argent and Grendel. He can sense her return.
Right.
All right.
And maybe tease at what Grendel becomes, which is this more of like or again, that the spirit of aggression is more than just a mask and a fork, that it's some sort of,
it's always been with the universe,
right?
Evil
And he has a preternatural, what was his name? Shit, it's right on the end of my tongue. Maslin has a connection that can always, I can feel her, he says, as that we turn the page, and it's like the same he felt when the mask and fork were stolen. He is feeling it now. And here's fucking Wiggins is just chilling in the Kamiko. When I was looking through it, I thought maybe he had this like futuristic like vape kind of thing that he was working with. But in the Dark Horse, it's clear that he's eating some like shish kebab.
I hadn't even looked. It's definitely a kebab.
It's definitely a kebab.
This is so cool. There is a really happy accident, mechanical error in my trade paperback, where on the blue plate it is misregistered like a millimeter to the left, and so on all of Wiggins' hair spikes, there's a magenta highlight.
Oh, whoa!
It's really, really cool.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to look through my trade.
Do you have the trade? Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't pop it out this week.
Who's to say? All right, cool. So they're talking about what happened, and then in these little orange panels, we see the plane landing. She gets off the plane. The people disembark. Nice high angle shot, and then COP shows up and slaps the cuffs on her. Right.
They're like, he's like, by now I'm sure we've got her. Nice. And yeah, I mean, these are great. Orange in the Kamiko by Tom Vincent, and then Jeremy Cox again, like does a little bit more fleshing out of the colors and stuff like that. But
there's a bit more contrast in the original.
Mm-hmm. They both have their merits for sure.
They both have their merits. Okay.
And then we flash back to Frisco to this, as they say, Frisco. Though I heard you're not supposed to say that from San Francisco locals.
But yeah. Don't say that.
The Frisco Kid.
And this is where they're sweating out Lee Sung, BLS.
Oh my God, they're really sweating him hard.
The balloon placement from panel 1 to 2 is really nice because it kind of swings around.
Right, it's like
it has a really, really cool flow.
Mm-hmm. We've got like a very nice throughout this thing, and again, the Pander's work continues to be experimental and yet get across this like dirty, grimy grossness so very well on these police officers.
Yeah. Dominic Riley is super exaggerated, like the size and shape of his eyes and also of his hair. Mm-hmm. So I think the subtext here is to help sell the kind of like demonic, corrupt COP.
Oh my God, yes.
Kind of thing.
Just the disgustingness of the cops. They all smoke. They're all nonstop smoking. And they're all like, we know you know something. You know something. And he's like, I don't know anything. And the cops like, they're all talking, I think he does. He knows something. He doesn't know something. He knows something. You know, they're all these little birds chirping.
Jeremy Cox does a great job here, but Tom Vincent does a lot, especially in panel 2 on like the hand, this weird glowing table, the way that light is striking the chin. Show me any Marvel or DC comic from 1987 or whatever that's doing this with coloring, and I will be surprised.
Yeah, and that's a good future tech right there. You know, if you're in an interrogation room, and the table itself illuminates up, and there's also heat lights from above. You know, that is like. There's no way to escape this like blaring, you know, the light that they use to like, you know, to feel you out. So that's a good, nice future tech.
What do you know? I don't know nothing. It's all denial. They know he knows. We got blunts to smoke in your face all night long.
All night long. This is another interesting color choice between Cox and Vincent. Like the last panel of page 4, the little like circle, the little ashes that are kind of coming off. Jeremy Cox kind of doesn't really pay them heed. It's just part of the thing. But then Tom Vincent adds like a little red, like a red circle to each one.
Yeah, I mean, I think in general, Jeremy Cox gets a lot more like mood out of this scene. But you know, the inks are really, there's a lot of weird things going on with the inks on these faces, and it's like
and there's like this giant clock that's like
Yeah.
shining behind him too, that comes across a little bit better in the Jeremy Cox.
right. Yeah, they showed it's like the Watchmen Doomsday Clock.
Right. And from a
Crazy.
few issues ago when they had the clock
Oh, yeah,
panel,
yeah.
it was just so sick. So they're just
Sweating it out.
continuing. They're like, we got tons of cigarettes to smoke here on page 5. And they're like, we'll just give you some time with your thoughts. Do you like music? I hope you like it loud. Click, 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 click. This one goes to 11.
It looks like it goes up so high that he
Yeah,
passes out.
Yeah.
That's like in Guantanamo, they would play like a Skinny Puppy as loud as they could and just do like psychological,
Like
audio
blast metal
warfare.
at him or something.
Just like horror industrial metal.
Oh, and here's another good use of the duo shade or the tones. We've got a couple different gauges, as you said here, the back of the chair of Brian and the table here when he clicks on the radio. And more of these cool accents by the Panders, these like jagged brush strokes that I love it. I love them. Let me just call out the Panders because they have been influencing your oh fuck why work. And I've been seeing a lot more panel breaks and a lot more awesome work by you. And
Thank you. I really
right.
like this where he comes back into it.
Page 6.
Yeah. Click. Okay, come on, let's go. Come on. It's just like a very cool designy color graphic kind of thing. They whip back up. Riley gets in his face. He looks insane.
Like Argent level insane almost.
It's insane.
Dang.
Yeah.
And that's when
it's so crazy.
And previously before we forgot to mention that Wiggins is like, should we keep, they have the suspects in custody, should we keep them? And Argent said no. So now as they're smacking him and waking him up and, he is ready to freaking grill BLS for hours.
Yeah.
And
so Argent has police jurisdiction.
Yeah, he does.
Cross country.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, New York called and time to let him go, Dom. And he's like, it's like that thing, like this is like one of those Ren and Stimpy close-ups where they're like, you get all close and it's like a painting and stuff. He's like, son of a. And he's like, all right, Lee Sung, you're released on your own reconnaissance, but don't leave this state. BLS is like, you know what? I ain't listening. And actually, he says, like, don't leave the state, but that was never the mandate from higher up.
From the Wolf.
Yeah, probably the Wolf was like, he's going to leave town, and that's fine, because then I can trace him anyway. He knows.
Yeah.
The
Panel
Wolf won't
4,
be.
the close-up of the eyes with the screen tone shadow coming down. Real nice.
Oh.
Gets a little washed out in Dark Horse, yeah.
In page 7, yeah.
Yeah, reads a bit better.
Yeah, there's almost like because I guess how they transferred the pages is a little different. Ooh, on page 6 too, we get a really cool kind of like bubbly screen tone thing.
Yeah, they got some
That is awesome.
white out over the
that's very freaking cool.
Cool effect. All right.
So BLS is leaving on 7 and he's just like, ugh.
Now I think one of the things that sort of, because I'm not of the new wave generation, these guys are all 20, 30 years older than me. When I see COP, I can only think of the like late 80s cops cartoon toy line.
They're like pigs. Were they pigs or something?
No, it was like they were like toys that came with like blasting cap guns.
Oh, okay.
And it was like there was a DC comic by blah 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 blah.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
Yeah. Big Boss Man. The villain was this big guy, and he wore like a double-breasted suit, and all the buttons were police badges.
Wow.
It was a cool design.
And his name was Big Boss Man?
Big Boss or something like that, yeah.
Oh, Big Boss Man.
Cool. All right, so...
You help me when I call. That song?
BLS.
Yeah, he's out.
I know that. I know Pigpen.
I know you know Pig. He's out, he's cruising, and we get these really crazy, like flying through the sky angles, which is
Yeah,
super
that's
cool.
super Blade Runner. He really took that turn.
Took it hard, like
Crazy.
verticalized. Yep.
And then
He's going to check on the theater because, like, you know, beyond his relationship with Christine, beyond his relationship with the situation, that's his work. That's, you know, he's put a lot of hard work in the last, what, 5 or 10 years maybe of his life, when he started off as just a stagehand and he worked his way up to become stage manager. You know, this theater's been a big part of his life for a long time. When he was a kid, he used to go see plays there with his grandmother. He learned a lot about, you know, I don't know, but, you know, maybe it is that, you know, maybe we don't know. This theater means a lot to him, perhaps. So he's going back to check on it. And it's just
look at how futuristic the cab in the bottom is.
Yeah, that is awesome.
That's crazy with the turbo thrusters. All right, so he gets out of his little Cadillac, and Ginny's there, and they have their meet cute.
Yes, they do.
All right, great.
She's like, Jesus, and he's like, no, Brian.
Yeah.
And, no, but you know, she taps him and says, excuse me, and then next page she's like, have you seen a young lady who's looking for Tujiro? And she's
it's
like,
he's
like, yeah, I know Chris very well.
Very well. Yeah, great.
And this she's like, yep, I think I know what you mean.
this panel of Brian, I had commented to you that his, like, I think because of like the Patrick Nagel, like new wave, like male model look, it leaves him like a little bland looking. Like he's, I'm just not sure what it is. And so, you know, they have some interesting like ticks with the roundness of his cheekbones and all that. Anyway,
and I was just thinking that it's possibly, you know, if they envisioned the future for him before they started this, perhaps they left him a little bit normal, a little bit basic, so that his descent, you know, that we'll see later on, hits you even harder, you know, because where he's the kind of normal Joe, everyday kind of the human guy here, so that when we see later in the Bernie Moreau stuff, that his descent into madness.
We'll call it a happy accident.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm not sure why the police have boarded up his windows. That seems it's very because it's a crime scene. That's very nice of them to do.
Yeah, he said, real nice guys. Thanks a lot for taking out this beautiful dramatic element for the panders to draw cops. Thanks.
And he finds his letter from Christine that she mailed him.
Yeah, he's like, you're Ginny, right? And she says, Regina, please. We're not on that level yet. And so he continues to call her Regina, and they look at it and they read it. Oh, interesting.
What? Crazy.
What?
In the trade.
Yeah, and in I'm looking at the omnibus on my computer. Yeah. They insert the letter like half and half. But in the comic, the floppy, it's not there at all.
This page, page 10, is probably one of my favorite, best laid out pages in all of Devil's Legacy. Like there's really, really interesting devices. But the most interesting device is the way that this letter is laid in, because on the left side you get the right side of the letter, and on the right side you get the left side. So it's like what they each see.
You kind of like
the shoulders.
So you're saying in the trade paperback of the Kamiko, it's there as well. Interesting.
Weird.
So I wonder if it was like that's a printer error, like it was left out or something, because I mean, it works still without it.
You write it once, photocopy it once, you write it, you photocopy it, you cut in half
and lay
paste
it in.
It up. Or don't, you don't need a photo. I don't know, who's to say?
Man. Go ahead.
But I will say that it's because of all the breaking and all the other design stuff that happens in this page, where like the urban psychodrama tension just like really, really ramps up. And then when Brian has his like, I'm going with you, it's like,
I love that texture.
It almost captures the Art Deco of that Matt would throw in. But because of all this design stuff, the composition of that letter stuff is a little cockeyed. It's not. it's a really interesting device.
Agreed.
It doesn't really get its due because of all the other things that are going on.
Well, it's great. I mean, really crazy thing here in panel 3, Ginny breaks the border of 2, the before and after panel, and then Brian's like underneath the panel border for 2.
Yeah.
That's wild. It kind of gets washed out a little bit in the Dark Horse / Omnibus, but in the Kamiko, it's very noticeable.
Yeah, really. I mean, really, really innovative, interesting
So cool
stuff. This
is an
probably,
amazing page.
Yeah, there's like, considering it's just a conversation scene, this is a book with a lot of people standing in apartments talking to each other.
Yeah,
like,
and it stays like interesting.
This is the one where it's like really, really baller.
You're like, damn.
Yeah.
All right, so then we cut back to New York, where some toughs, some of Grendel's toughs, I guess they're cops, are bringing the newly apprehended Christine Spar to Wiggins and Argent.
Yeah, this guy's like naval beret is so, I don't know. It's funny because like these are the plainclothes COP guys.
Mm-hmm.
They're still in uniform. We've seen the like Fifth Element paramilitary guys, and we've seen the shirt tie, shirt sleeves, like sweat house.
Yeah, exactly. Rolled up sleeves, sloppy guys.
One of these guys is named Vado. Is that a reference to Dan Vado? Do you think? I don't even know if it's spelled the same way.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't make the connection.
That's his what's it called? Slave labor graphics.
Oh, I don't know. The guy on the left surely looks like Scruffy from Futurama.
Yeah, same spelling.
Scruffy. Oh yeah,
I can see it. Yeah, maybe it's an homage to Dan Vado. I don't know. Who's to say? Anyway, so they bring her in here, and this is interesting. This is where her monologue is like, I don't want to read the whole thing, but like, this is where her like righteous, like, everything I'm doing is totally justified. The police are corrupt. They're incompetent. They're incapable. Argent's my enemy. He's taken over the police. Without these elements in the world, like, the tragedy of my life wouldn't have occurred. Fuck it.
Yeah, she's like going in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. This is what will save me. The irrationality of their fears, my purpose, direction. Yeah, and she's getting it. Next page, we get some nice Johnny Quest ad.
Nice
Rio.
house ads.
Yeah, graphic novel.
What is Rio?
I don't know. It looks amazing though. Doug Wildy, 8.5 by 11 graphic novel is lavishly printed in full process color, a format befitting the greatest illustrated Western ever produced. Wow.
No, you don't say.
I mean, that inset painting looks amazing, dude. I'm psyched to see it.
I'm sure it's something.
I don't read a lot of Western comics though, save for Blueberry or something, but
I'm sure it's like, oh, you haven't heard of Rio?
His name is Rio, and he dances in Argent's office. All right, so here she is, and this is the first time that Argent links eyes with Christine Spar, which and it's a little bit weird that they don't talk about Stacy at all. Like, this is a person probably second only to Wind in the Leaves, the person Argent loved the most, though we never know about his assistant guy, but he loved almost no one more than Stacy. Yeah, Evan. So it I would think he would have some sort of like affection for Christine in a way, like that he would still feel some sort of love towards her.
It might have been a story element that just didn't find its way in.
Yeah,
there's so many other things competing for attention here.
Yeah,
and so many of them are left on the sidelines for you to just kind of think about on your own. Like
this is another great story for Grendel, white, red, and black that we're pitching. Is this story where we see Argent checking in from afar on Stacy giving birth Stacy here and there. Like he sees these different things, and then he checks in on Christine Spar somewhere, and she's about to get in trouble, but he thwarts it. Or I know that there's something that Argent, like this is the first time she's seen Argent, but this is not close to the first time he's seen her in my headcanon.
Right. Well, I think that isn't she as a baby at that funeral?
That's true. Yeah. So that's just one. Yeah.
Doesn't he see her when she's 3 months old? Yeah. Well, think of how much the subsequent Hunter Rose stories have done for Devil by the Deed to sort of flesh things out. Right. So there's a lot of content.
Oh, to have a black, white, and red that just focuses on Christine.
There's a lot of Christine content to be told, I think.
Matt, if you need any help with outlines or writing.
Oh, sure.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't.
So Wiggins, Wiggins has this weird, Yeah. Anyway, she recognizes that Wiggins has the cyborg lie detector eye. Okay, like
she's like, stay strong, believe in everything you say. Like, it's not like for sure every time or something. So she's like, okay.
Yeah. Well, it's like how a polygraph is not
scientific
at all.
Yeah. Just regulates your heart or like follows your heartbeat. So if you can control that.
And they just sort of like have this like duel of wits of like who can sort of be more obnoxious and bluff harder, and it goes on for like 3 pages. There's when she describes Argent's voice, it's a mix of Brando and Marianne Faithfull. I had to look her up.
I was gonna. I didn't get to it. What's she sound like?
She was Mick Jagger's partner from like 1964 to 1970. And then went through addiction and homelessness and severe laryngitis.
Wow.
And she did a single release of As Tears Go By, maybe as a cover, or she wrote it, or who's to say, if you're, and she had a very like soft British Nightingale voice when she did As Tears Go By, and then post trauma, celebrity trauma, her voice is like, has this like animal growl to it.
Wow.
So
interesting.
So Argent's voice here is like, it's really like gravelly and scratchy.
Animalistic.
Interesting reference to.
Was that single perhaps released right around this time or something like that? Like in the 80s?
No,
the second one, I mean. The second one. Oh, okay.
It was from like 1970.
Gotcha.
I mean,
but still in the zeitgeist.
She may have continued to release records.
Gotcha.
Well, it's funny. She's in the zeitgeist, but this story takes place like 2023.
Oh yeah, you're right.
So it's just like, oh, okay.
Okay, it stayed. It's the second resurgence of the 80s. It's like how like 90s style is big now. By 2030, 80s style will be back.
Sure.
All right. So they continue, and they're just batting back and forth. Like, I have evidence. You don't have evidence. What evidence do you have?
Crazy?
If anyone knows,
do you want to see crazy? It's like keeps going.
My son is freaking dead, and don't you think if anyone would know, like, or know this craziness of Grendel, it would be me?
By the way, can't you solve my son's disappearance?
Yeah.
You incompetent,
don't even care.
Horrible, corrupt, disgusting animal police officers. You are guided by an ancient nightmare. Ooh, he didn't like that.
Ooh, yeah, that hit her deep. That was on page 14. As the lattice work shadow over her eye is like so cool.
Really cool. I tried to reverse Google image search this
Oh yeah, I was thinking
whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
To no avail. I don't know what we're looking at. I mean, it's
something.
It's like a skull and a squid and a skyline and
a skull and a squid. Okay. Yep.
It's just like it's a very Argent, whatever it is. It's a very appropriate piece of art for Argent to have in his place.
Maybe we'll reach out to Matt and or the Panders, and we'll have a little ticker at the bottom with this.
Or maybe it's Geldof because he he popped his brother in there.
That's true. All right, so we'll reach out. We'll see what we can find out.
All right, cool.
And then so the toughs come in with her luggage, and he's like, "About freaking time, Gilbert." Oh yeah, so one's Gilbert and one's Vado. All right. So they come in and they're like, dude, nothing. There's nothing in here. There's no mask. There's no fork. And Argent is freaking like frazzum.
The coloring in Kimiko on this close-up eye, this like red blush over everything, looks fantastic.
Where are we on? Page 15?
Page 15, second to last panel.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
it's just Christine's eye, and it's got this kind of like rose-colored over everything. It's really, really interesting choice.
Yeah, they don't do that in Dark Horse. They bring her eye out even further. But yeah,
no, it's funny because every time that it's like every time one edition has the upper hand, it volleys back and forth between like which choices kind of like make more sense in terms of clarity or tone or lighting or texture or whatever. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, really, really cool thing.
Argent is pissed, and she's like, right? Okay, nothing's in there. I told you. Now I suggest, gentlemen, you either make your charges or let me get out.
I do work for the Times. We have a lot of lawyers. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, you ain't got nothing on me.
She's such a fucking obnoxious person.
She is, yeah. Yeah. Well, she knows.
That's been my take on her this whole time, that she's just outlandishly entitled and crazy.
Well, she's driven and she's got the backing for all this stuff. Yeah. Desperate, but with the backing. Again, I work for the Times. We have a ton of lawyers. I have this knowledge about Grendel. She has all the knowledge to back up all the shit she talks. And Wiggins is just pissed. And the only thing she could hear is Argent's teeth grinding and Wiggins blowing as they set her free in a swirl of anger.
Is that supposed to be a microphone that's going straight down, breaking those first?
Yeah, I was guessing it was just like
or a lamp or something.
Yeah, the ceiling lamp or something like that. But that's an amazingly cool page break for sure.
Yeah, lots of great lighting effects here. So she's saying, what she's saying is that based on the phone conversations that she tapped with Virginia,
right?
They needed the hard evidence.
Right. And she was very careful not to say anything to
Ginny. Where is the fork? I'm confused.
Oh, it comes later. It comes later.
Yeah, I stopped. I have a few pages.
Benny.
Anyway, so Wiggins lets her go with gloves. He's so stylish.
He's very well. That's so his fingers don't yellow from all the pipe smoke.
Are you on? You like this one? The back of Argent's head. It's very like Bill Sienkiewicz, Simon.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
that's really cool.
It's like ink splotch, and the back of his chair is very much like
a tape deck or a toaster.
A tape deck toaster. Exactly what it is.
His chair like continues to become more and more sci-fi as the series goes on.
Yeah.
Until it's a floating rocket wheelchair.
Exactly. I'm glad it gets there. I was surprised it wasn't Charles Xavier level awesomeness.
And then she's giving orders to these guys to carry her luggage. Like
yeah. That is your entitlement thing there. She's like, come on. She's like, bring that. He's like, what?
And like, she's killed like 35 people.
It's true. It is true.
She isn't guilty. It's like, whatever. I do what I want. I'm Christine Spar. I do what I want. Ooh.
Next page, we got a Kimiko blimp. We got a hype page. We got a little something from Bob Schreck talking about some stuff. Bernie Wrightson, Mark Kaluta. He's got some Edgar Rice Burroughs stuff he's talking about after he was watching King Kong and Mighty Joe Young on Thanksgiving a
little bit more on Rio. It says it's a 60. God, I feel like I should know what this is. It's a 64-page full color volume, never before published art. Maybe it was like backups or newspaper strips or European magazine features. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it looks cool, man. We're gonna have to look for it.
And then it's crazy. The title here makes it look like an EC book. It has like a Kurtzman Mad, Two-Fisted Tales kind of feel to it.
Ooh, I'm gonna look for that.
We'll figure this out.
Mm-hmm. All right, so here comes a very cartoony scene of Dominique here. The phone rings. He yanks it off the thing, and yet it's still.
It's a floating phone.
Yeah,
it's a
got
floating rotary style phone.
A floatery.
A floatery.
So he pulls this floatery off the thing, and he's chatting with these spikes on the bottom of his feet, mustard slurping down his face, and they're like, "Yo, we just saw BLS at the airport. He left. He bounced," and he's like, he spits all this mustard goop out.
He's so gross.
Disgusting. Absolutely
I
disgusting.
like how there's like stains. There's like splattered ink stains on his desk. And the hot dog leaves one also.
Like his ballpoint pens just leak everywhere.
Yeah. There's a photo of, I think, him and his mother on the wall. It's just above.
It says mom.
Panel. It's above
his mom.
Yeah. Well, we know his dad was supposedly killed.
Oh, killed by Grendel.
Yeah. Yeah. I also like he's got these like heavy duty guns locked up on his wall.
Yes. And this news makes him so angry that he squeezes and breaks the phone when he throws it down. You can see the receiver has been broken. He's pissed.
Crazy. He's a crazy fuck.
Yeah, this case above all other cases in San Francisco has incensed him so much so that he can focus on nothing else, and he jams out to Terminal 14 and he's a one-round ticket to round trip in New York.
He has a tourist sticker from hell.
Yes. I meant to say that. Oh my God, that's too funny.
Oh man, there was one Jeremy Cox shout out I did not give him. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, Jeremy.
Jeremy, last panel of page 16, the lighting on Argent is amazing. The purple underlighting.
Oh yeah.
So good. All right, sorry about that. All right, so he busts out, he goes to Funky Town. It's a round trip ticket.
Mm-hmm. Funky Town Airport. And then we cut to New York City where Christine's looking up in this perspective shot of her apartment. She's like, I don't want to go in. It's so quiet.
She's been gone for weeks.
Mm-hmm. No voice, no laugh, no Anson.
This panel where she lowers her glasses, this last one, you can really see what the panders want to draw. Because suddenly it like everything tightens up real quick. We've got all these like really exaggerated, like loose cartoony, and like the reason for the season are these, these shots of Christine and all that.
Yeah. Looking cool. Looking very Egon-esque there as she looks back, and Ginny's like, Chris. Obviously in 2030, the West Coast to East Coast flights are much quicker. And,
in Kamiko, Ginny is this bright, 25% yellow, pops right out. Dark Horse, all kinds of colors. Can't see nothing.
Just completely muddied. Yeah.
Can't see anything. Okay. All right. So she's been gone for, let's call it 3 to 6 weeks.
Right. From San Fran.
Yeah.
Or to San Fran from New York. Right.
Long enough to fall in love.
Exactly. And she's like, God, man, it's been so long. And she's like, why didn't you tell me you were leaving? And she's like, I couldn't. But then she's like, not here. Got to go upstairs.
All right. So we get this cool cutaway of them in the elevator. There's like a kitty in another elevator and a skull and a bone. Oh my God.
and I love
because they're going up,
Exactly. And there's these little like notations like the velocity 2.2 by L. No smoking. She's smoking. Volume capacity 2.
Yeah, this is very Mad Magazine.
Yeah, I love it. I love this little cat inset. It's so funny. And then we get up into her apartment. She's like, okay, I know it's bugged. I'm going to like search everywhere, but then also my earring is an anti-bug. And so she turns on her antenna earring to block out all the bugs. And then she's like,
the detail is crazy because you can see the backing of her earring on the table.
Right. Yeah.
And
that's really
the
cool
stick pin of the earring. So this antenna pops right up
out of the side of it. Yeah. And it's like, sending out some things. And someone must have been watering her plants while she was gone because they all still
Mrs. Her old lady.
You're right. Yeah.
Her guilt housekeeper. Anyway, so they sit around here, they do some talking in apartments.
And she
says, I met up with Brian. Brian?
Yeah, and Brian came with me. This is some really nasty shit you mixed yourself up in. And she was like, that's why I didn't want you to come. I didn't want you to like get wrapped up in it too. But then at the end of it, we flash to the apartment and here's where Dominique is coming up. I love this detail of the 3 knocks, all spelled different. K-N-O-C,
Oh, I never saw that.
K-N-O-Q, K-N-O-C-K.
That is so. It's so weird how like this spread has this weird, mad Kurtzman vibe.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like there's so many different tones that are being hit. You know, young people just going all out.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice the knocks because I was focused on the robot bellhop in the lobby.
Yeah. This is super cartoony and cool. Oh yeah, I see him. Yeah, he's like, ooh.
Yeah.
Love it.
Riley shows up like a lunatic.
Right. And Brian's like, hello. And he's like, he just bashes in the door, pushes him down, punches him. He's like, you smart little asshole. Registered under your own goddamn name. What an idiot. And he's just spitting and beating him up. And he's like, ah. And Brian up kicks him. And
That's the
just
Tai Chi.
Oh yeah, that freaking infuriates Dominique. He's like, you hit me, never hit a police officer, never. And he just begins to pistol whip the hell out of him. Just, oh my God, that second to last panel on 23, he is getting it in. He's going crazy.
I feel like, yeah. I mean, I feel like, you know, you could do a series about Argent and the cops with Christine and her family as a side plot. Yeah. And that would satisfy sort of like what I want here.
Silverback
he's crazy.
Absolutely
he's crazy.
Like this is unfortunately like a little bit modern in that these police officers are just completely sick with power, and so much so that like, I mean, he is way beyond his jurisdiction, way beyond anything that this case would justify, and he's just beating the shit out of Brian with no provocation.
Jeremy Cox kills it on that second panel close-up.
Yeah.
But then you know, look at analog Tom Vincent in the second to last panel with the
love that.
The spatter, the rarely used analog spatter. God, before this is over, I got to figure out how they did it. We got to put it to the group or something like that.
So good. And then, you know, Christina and Ginny are coming to visit him, and she opens the door. Look at this like cactus thing.
Weird.
As she busts in, she's like, Jesus Christ, Brian. And he's like, he's a cop, Riley, followed me from San Fran. And this is like another little click in Christine's psyche where she's like, this is it, man. Like, this is it. You know, everything is falling apart. Every little thing, they have infiltrated my life. They have infiltrated everyone I love. Everyone is into this now. And she kisses him and she's like, just, you guys stay here. And that's when Ginny, this is Christine's like, they both realize that I turned my back on them. Like that she decided that her holy quest for vengeance is more important than her friends.
This is her best look, this jacket. It's insane.
It's insane.
And
this
like
is when
fringes, like it's like an X-Men coat or something like that.
Yeah. She hops in this taxi. She tells him to just kind of tool around in case she's being followed. He says, you can't be serious. You can't be, he asked if my instructions were real. I asked if his nose was real.
Oh, sick burn.
Sick burn. She gets to Grand Central. Her husband, Peter, always kept a secret locker where she fetches a tube. Mm-hmm. Inside that tube on the next page.
I love this high angle shot. It's crazy.
The high angle of,
That is her in Grand Central, and then
those are the lockers.
Look at this woman, this poor woman from Funky Town.
Yeah, she's crying.
She's wearing Gates's army jacket. She's not having a very good day.
Oh, yeah,
that's
she's
sad.
Crying. Yeah.
All right.
So then we see what was in the tube was her Grendel outfit, and it was almost like the Flash, in a Flash style. She opened the tube and the suit went and sucked right onto her. And
this is the fork as cane.
Fork as cane, yeah. Very small.
Fork as cane.
And she's ready to freaking get out.
My hand has been forced again by those who seek to bury me with both their ignorance and brutality. I thought they had. They hadn't. No, they hadn't. She's crazy.
Here's a little something on the letters page. Special thanks to Hank Pender for his contribution to page 14 of this issue. That's that art we are looking for. So perhaps that's art by the Pender's father. Very cool. Thanks, Diana.
Is that what? Oh, that's what she says. Great. Okay, good. All right.
All right,
So
we figured that
Christina's a
out.
lunatic. That's great. Next issue is the big one. No
Mhm.
Mercy.
Grendel. And that's not the silent one. The silent one is 12.
No, this is the silent one.
This is the silent one. Oh,
Yes.
okay. So next week we're gonna have a special guest on the cast.
Oh boy.
A fan, a friend, a great artist. But not affiliated with the Wagner camp, but just one of our friends who was like really wanting to come on and chat. So more on that next week.
What
An
an
amazing
ish.
ish, another powerful ish, and we're on the way. And next week, right? There's no words in the issue, so we're gonna have a lot of interpreting to do.
The alien mutant people diner customers are not to be believed.
No,
There's so much Blade Runner extraterrestrial weirdness. We'll get there.
we'll get there. I'm excited. Until next week, Vivat Grendel, and keep on Grendeling.